You're watching the Weiss channel. Da 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 da. Today we're going to do factorial and combinations. What the heck is factorial? Have you ever seen a button on your calculator that has an exclamation point on it?
No, sir.
What the heck is that exclamation point? All right. Well, for example, let's talk about let's use this example here. In how many ways can Yari, Janaya, and Dakota finish a race, first, second, and third? Okay. Well, it could be Yari, Janaya, Dakota. It could be Yari, Dakota, Janaya. It could be Dakota, Yari, Janaya. It could be Dakota, Janaya, Yari. It could be Janaya, Janaya, Dakota, Yari. Or it could be Janaya, Yari, Dakota. These are all of the possible ways that the three can finish first, second, third. Okay? How many ways are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? Now, is there a way to figure that out without actually having to write out all of the combinations? Yes. And here's what it is. There are 3 people, so it's called 3 factorial. What does 3 factorial mean? 3 factorial simply means 3 times 2 times 1. Whatever the factorial is, you take that number and multiply it by each number after it until you get to 1. All right? 3 times 2 times 1 equals 6. Okay? So, for example, what is 4 factorial? 4 factorial would be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Times 1 is 24. Okay. That would be 4 factorial. What would 5 factorial be? Exactly. 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which would be 120. As you can see, with each increase of factorial by 1, the numbers increase very quickly. Okay? All right, so that is how factorial works. And I can show you how to use the button on your key, on your calculator. All right? What about here? Here is a situation, it's called a combination. What? Well, in how many ways can Christian, Sean, Dylan, Jose, and Leo, 5 people, finish a race in the top 3? Now, when I say finish in the top 3, I'm not talking about whether they're first, second, and third. I'm pretending for the moment that each of the 3 people win the same prize. So it doesn't matter whether you come in first, second, or third. So how many ways can 5 people finish in the top 3? Okay. Here it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 different ways for that to happen. Okay? Once again, is there a way to do that without having to write out all of the possible combinations? The answer is yes. Okay? And it's called a combination. How do we do a combination? Combination is written like this, NCR. Okay? N is the total number of people, combination, for R, number of possibilities. Okay? So for this particular case, it's 5C3. Okay? It's always the bigger number first and the smaller number second. Now, Many calculators have this key on it, and I will show you how to use that. All right? But here is the formula for NCR. The formula for NCR is, and I'm just going to write, n factorial over n minus r factorial times r factorial. What? Okay, so let's do this particular example. This particular example of 5c3 is going to be this. It will be 5 factorial divided by 5 minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. Now, the easiest way to do this would be to do first 5 minus 3. 5 minus 3 is 2. So you have 2 factorial times 3 factorial. Okay? The best thing to do would be to do this bottom part first. 2 factorial, and you can do this on your calculator when you have bigger numbers. It'll be easier to do that. 2 factorial, though, is 2. 3 factorial is 6. So you're going to have 2 times 6, which is 12. 2 times 6 is 12. 5 factorial is 120. And now 120 divided by 12 equals 10. There you go. That's going to be the easiest way to do this problem. If you just do it straight on your calculator, if you do 5 factorial, then you hit divided by, you have to use the parentheses. Hit parentheses, then 5 minus 3, parentheses, then hit factorial, then times, then 3 factorial, and then hit equals. And it should work. If it doesn't, and there's a whole nother process you have to use, making it easier to do the bottom first if you do these problems on your calculator. Okay? Let's take a look at this. In how many ways can you pick 4 different colored marbles from a bag of 7 different colored marbles? That's simply going to be 7C4. Okay? 7C4 is going to be 7 factorial divided by 7 minus 4 factorial times 4 factorial. Okay. Once again, I would recommend doing the bottom first. 7 minus 4 is 3. 3 factorial is going to be 6. 4 factorial is going to be 24. What is 24 times 6? 144. So we're going to do 7 factorial divided by 144. On your calculator, you do 7 factorial. Okay? And 7 factorial divided by 144 is going to give you 35. Okay? All right. Now, let's try one more. In how many ways can you pick 3 people out of 10? Once again, the order does not matter. That's going to be 10 combination 3. Okay? Or 10 factorial over 10 minus 3 factorial times 3 factorial. Once again, I would always recommend to do the bottom first. 10 minus 3 is 7, so you've got 7 factorial times 3 factorial. If you do that all correctly on your I'm going to show you something else. You may like this, you may not. I'm just going to show it to you. 10 factorial is the same as 10 times 9 times 8 times 7 factorial, right? Divided by 7 factorial, 3 factorial. Hopefully you would agree that the 7 factorials will cancel. Now, 3 factorial is 6. So I've got 10 times 9 times 8 over 6. Well, 6, 3 goes into 6 twice. 3 goes into 9 3 times. So now I have 10 times 3 times 8 divided by 2. And hey, 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 8 4 times. So now I have 10 times 3 is 30. 30 times 4 is 120. That's another way to do it if you're not doing it on your calculator. Okay? But if you use these numbers on your calculator, that'll work too. You've been watching the Weiss channel. Da 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 da.